FCC blocking me all kind of ways with this copyright bullshit. Simply because of the fact that they don't want people to know what the truth really is and the shit that's going on. This shit crazy, man. It's crazy. How we gonna allow them to do the 5G bullshit when we know what the 5G is doing? Listen.
As you guys know, Deborah has so much to say, and we only have a finite amount of time. I'll turn this over to Deborah now. Take us away, Deborah. 5G networks. It is an insidious plan. And the FCC is foaming at the mouth to get this thing launched.
Well, we're going to talk about that because it is diabolical, and everyone that is listening, you must engage while your minds are still able to, because we're literally at a point where we will not be able to engage. We will not have control over our bodies or our minds. This is cyborg reality now within our cities. We're going to talk about the 5G, but I'm just going to read this. The emergence of a planet-wide electronic communications grid connecting the thoughts and feelings of billions of people and linking them to rapidly expanding volumes of data, to fast-growing webs of sensors being embedded by millions throughout the world, and to increasingly intelligent devices, robots, and thinking machines, the smartest of which already exceed the capability of all of us in performing a growing list of discrete mental tasks, and now already surpass humans in manifestations of
Before any of this shit came out, I was already saying with artificial intelligence and we having the divine creator's intelligence and being human coming from the planet Earth, man done got too smart for his own good. Now man done laid up there and went into something that was not his place. When you look at the creator from the beginning, the creator of the creations, I'm talking about the creator of all that has been created and is being created while I am speaking, and will be created after we destroy all the shit that we created with the creator within us. The creator will create elsewhere, because the creator is always one way all day, every day, and that's the loving, unconditional to create good, straight, not to the left, not to the right, not backwards. The creator of all those different men that created all those different gods and all those different religions. I'm just saying, if you look at the twist being everything that's natural, not good, but fake is good, you see the twist? Good is bad, bad is good. It's a big old fucking flip from what they tripped us out to be tripped. When you think we was taught to be stupid, when you think about we was taught to believe in Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy. Your mama said, don't lie to me, but you lied to them. Come on, people. What are we really getting from a lie that does nothing but get someone else rich around that time of the motherfucking year? Period. We living in some bullshit, being bullshitted by some bullshit ass people. That's the reason why they keep on putting copyright bullshit on my shit, simply because of the fact that I know that I'm going to touch some people, because I don't talk to your ass no more, because your ass is full of shit. Chewed up grass out of a cow's ass, and by being a male bull is bullshit. This 4G shit, man, this ain't nothing but a fucking weapon these bitches about to lay up there and put around us. Bad enough, the weapon is already around us, not being our fucking cell phone and all the motherfucking radiation that's going on around us. See, me, I'm almost immune to radiation. When you think about it, I went under the MRI machine in one motherfucking year, 85 fucking times. That's too fucking fucked up for somebody to have to go to the hospital for at least go to the hospital, but to go to the hospital and basically all the time you go to the hospital, they took you and throw you on an MRI machine. All because the MRI machine is where the money is at. Man, we gotta live there and wake the fuck up from this fucking illusion bullshit.
Intelligence that we as humans had always assumed would remain the unique province of our species. Sadly, that is no longer the case. So we're going to get into the 5G. It is nothing short of diabolical. We're going to first recommend that all of you go to the top of stopthecrime.net, the home page, and what you will find is the opportunity to download the symptom list for frequencies. And again, go to the top of stopthecrime.net. Everyone needs to understand what is occurring. So, the only thing that we can do right now is to disengage from all wireless as soon as possible. Now, it's important to understand what the 5G is doing and what they say it's doing. We're told on the IEEE beamforming document that this technology cooked your eyes like eggs in World War II. Cooked your eyes like eggs. So we need to understand where we are with this and what is happening with the 5G. So we're going to go into what the success of 5G is going to require. On the IEEE, that's IEEE, that means Institute for Electric and Electronic Engineers, you can read a document entitled Everything You Need to Know About 5G. And you all need to understand these are military weapons. These are assault frequencies. If you garner nothing more than that, that's what you need to know. But here's what they're telling us and why they're implementing faster data speeds. Because they're telling us that today's mobile users want faster data speeds and more reliable service. They say the next generation of wireless networks, 5G, promises to deliver just that and so much more. The 5G users should be able to download a high-definition film in under a second, a task of 10 minutes on the 4G. Wireless engineers say that networks will boost the development of other new technologies such as autonomous vehicles and the Internet of Things. We are being eliminated. That is the most important takeaway this conversation is about. But they say that, and what I find extremely interesting, and again, you can look at this on stopthecrime.net, in our bills that we get with Pacific Gas and Electric for our electric bills, almost on a monthly basis, there's a bill insert. And, of course, Pacific Gas and Electric and your utilities are all run by Rothschild. And they have an explanation about EMF frequencies and whether it causes health problems or not. And there's a very interesting paragraph in their insert. They tell us that international, national, and California laws, because these are inserts in our bills, are unable to define whether the frequencies are safe or not safe. And this remains the circumstances of the findings to date. So they're telling us it is still uncertain. They use the word uncertainty. You can download this again at the top of stopthecrime.net. You're likely getting these in your bills. People do not read the inserts. We know that the evil doers are required, it's a code of ethics, that they must let us know what they're doing in advance. So what else is happening now? We've just found out recently that the World Health Organization has identified 5G as an addiction. Video gaming is now an addiction and a mental disorder, of which drugs are now going to be implemented, and this is going to be classified in the International Classification of Diseases, which is a publication that's due out this year. It's updated every so many years, and it will include gaming disorder as a serious health condition. And yet they're telling us that 5G is necessary so we can connect to the Internet of Things. But yet, it is addiction.
Listen to me carefully.
But worse
These
than
rich
that,
motherfuckers
this
that
is
high up, they are
elimination
some
of
real
people.
evil motherfucking
Now, I'd
people.
like all of you
all y'all people that believe in God and Jesus
type
bullshit, the God and Jesus bullshit is
Palantir
them, and the devil and the
org,
Holy Ghost bullshit is them too.
You're going to see a very, very diabolical photograph of Donald Trump
about good, people.
in Saudi Arabia.
If you're about good,
putting his
but you
hand
believe in that
on
God and
the
that
crystal
Jesus
ball,
bullshit,
which
you better get with good is good, and fuck that God and Jesus bullshit. The good is good all the time, and love is love all the time when it's coming from the divine creator. Love
got
you
in the White House.
unconditionally.
It does not matter.
I'm trying to
We're a
talk to
corporate
people. I
structure.
went into the light.
We don't have the elected officials that we think we have. And as soon and as quickly as we can discard that propaganda out of our minds, the better off we will be in understanding how we need to protect ourselves. Now, I will tell you, I spoke with Dr. Bill Deagle yesterday, and I was on his show, and he is talking about the creation of a device that will help to reduce the frequencies that we're going to be hit with. We are going to be slaughtered, and many people now are creating devices. So, Sean, when we talk about solutions, we have the capability and the know-how to have certain protections available to us. Many people also have found that crystals used properly can deflect frequencies. We recently learned that the crystals used in the radios in World War II was one of the main advantages that the United States had. This was the quartz in the radios. So crystals are extremely powerful, and many people are now going to be implementing crystals around their properties and in their homes to deflect some of these frequencies that are now escalating. So let's read a little more about 5G and what some of the problems with 5G is and why the Wildlands Project is being implemented to drive us out of the rural lands. And that is because 5G will not work in the country. It must and will be implemented into the density in the cities. It is a dense network of frequencies. And here's what we know about that. They go on to tell us that there's one problem that the 5G runs into. They tell us that many people are using devices and they're consuming more data than ever before, but their data remains crammed on the same bands of radio frequency spectrum for mobile providers that have always been used in the past. And this means less bandwidth for everyone, causing slower service and more dropped connections. This is how they're selling this to us. But they go, the need to really literally deploy hundreds and hundreds of these in our cities. In fact, they tell us that these small, mobile, portable, miniature base stations, or 5G, will be deployed every 820 feet apart throughout our cities. There will be thousands, millions of these throughout our cities. They say to prevent our cell signals from being dropped, the carriers will install millions of these. And they will form a dense network that act like a relay team, receiving signals from other base stations and sending data to users at any location. They go on to tell us that this radically different network structure will provide a more targeted and efficient use of the broadband spectrum. Having more stations means the frequencies that one station uses to connect with devices in one area can be reused by another station serve in another area. But there is a problem. The sheer number of small cells require to build a 5G network, and it will be hard to set up in rural areas. And here's what they're telling us the difficulty in the country areas are. Vegetation prevents the signals from being able to travel, and also rain prevents the signals from traveling. Hence, the weather control and the droughts. That will not prohibit the signals from traveling. Again, they want us out of the country. All of these signals penetrate all structures and all living things. This is what is intended with 5G. And in fact, Sean, we're having meetings here in Santa Rosa because they're rolling them out here now in Northern California. And they're saying that they're going to start rolling these out in Sacramento in California. But these are headed to you too. So what we're finding is that these micro cell towers that are putting unimaginable watts and frequencies into the environment, it's microwave radiation warfare is what this is. And they're putting them on our sidewalks. They can't underground the 5G network. And this is, of course, without any public input or knowledge, just like the Palantir or the Thought Police implementation in New Orleans. Not even the city council, who doesn't represent us anyway, but not even the city council was aware of the implementation of the CIA-backed predictive policing in New Orleans.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to just jump in. I've been quiet this whole time because you really stunned me with that picture of Trump with the magic orb in Saudi Arabia. And these are just a couple of recent headlines here from the Daily Mail 5 days ago. Secretive startup uses predictive policing in New Orleans. And Palantir, the company that knows too much, from New York Daily News just 2 days ago.
Wow.
Guys, this is just as serious as a heart attack. It seems to me that they've privatized their eugenics programs. That's what's going on here, Deborah.
That's exactly what's going on. Now we're going to jump into something else because we literally got this Palantir information from a source that has now sent it out. We've been putting it across on as many outlets as possible. I would highly recommend everyone go to stopthecrime.net, download these documents for yourself, see for yourself what your cities are leading you into. It's not a matter of, sadly, of stopping this. This is a rollout of genocide. Now, we're going to be really trying to create public awareness. This is why we're talking about it right now. But I want to jump in to one more thing that's diabolical, and everyone needs to understand what has also happened to our food supply. We know it's been poisoned. We know the water's been poisoned. We know the air has been poisoned. But we need to talk about Sinomix. And Sinomix is spelled Senomyx. Senomyx. And all of you listening can go to stopthecrime.net, type that in our search bar, and you will find this information. It's very startling. You're going to see photographs that are going to be very, very disturbing. But more importantly, you're not going to want to eat this. Okay, so we're going to talk about what this is. There's a list of companies that are using human fetal cells from aborted babies as a flavor enhancement in our food supply.
Pepsi was busted for doing that. Pepsi was using that as a flavor enhancer in their cola.
Yeah, PepsiCo is certainly one of them, but the list is very long, and it's important for everybody to download the flyer that we have on stopthecrime.net so you don't consume this aborted fetal tissue. What does it do? Well, it incites anger, and it literally rewires our brain as we cannibalize ourselves. The same thing, of course, which happened with mad cow disease when they were grinding up roadkill and other cattle and feeding it to the cattle. We're being fed our own species, and we must know the products that are certainly implementing
It's not
this.
government
So I'm
people,
going
and
to
this
just
ain't no
read some
bullshit.
of this to you now. But again, I caution you when you type in the list of companies using fetal cells from aborted babies, which you can do. Again, the list of companies using fetal cells from aborted babies. You're going to see a very disturbing photograph. But Cinemex is listed on its website, and its partners decided to ignore the letter from the Right to Life group that was certainly organizing against the use of humans in the food supply. And sadly, the Right for Life group lost their bid to stop this during the Obama administration. Now remember, it doesn't matter who's president. Anyone could have been president at that time. We're a corporate structure. We're run by the corporation, and certainly PepsiCo is a massive corporation. So during the Obama administration, and sadly, on February 28th of 2012, the President's Security and Exchange Commission ruled that PepsiCo's use of aborted fetal human tissue remains in their research and development agreement with Cinemex to produce flavor enhancements, falls under ordinary business operations.
No.
So we're going to talk about a list of products. You should not be consuming these products. All soft drinks and Pepsi. All drinks Sierra Mist. All drinks Mountain Dew. All in-beer mug root beer and Pepsi. Drinks of No Fear. Ocean Spray. Seattle's Best Coffee. All brands of energy drinks. All brands. Aquafina water. Double Shot. Some of the Frappuccinos. Gatorade. They go on. Tropicana. All products of Nestle, including coffee creamers, instant soups, bouillon cubes, ketchup, sauces, instant noodles, etc. Bubble gum, Chiclets, Clarets, Dentyne, Trident. There's many other lists of gums as well. You need to look at this for yourselves. They talk about Cadbury Adams candies, and they mention the original gummies and many other Cadbury candies as well. Certs and Halls cough drops. The company produces, there are also companies that produce anti-wrinkle creams containing the cells of aborted babies as well, of 14 weeks gestation. And there's a list of the creams that we need to understand have the aborted fetal tissue in it as well. So I can only say, Sean, we do not have a government. We are being literally fried, cooked by these frequencies. It's like being in a microwave oven. We need to understand how they're going to do away with mass populations in the United States through resilient cities. And the word infrastructure changes after weather weapon assault. This is what they're doing. Again, they're deploying cameras
6 fucking phones and only one fucking
plan
work.
them in all
I got
the
a small
states
tab
with
I got a motherfucking
infrared, as I said
and I got a
earlier,
motherfucking,
to track and monitor our movements
and none
in
of this
real
shit is
time,
working like it's supposed to work.
24/7,
But this ain't that when they get 5G, everything
and
gonna
I
work better.
liken this
Shit ain't working
to
with
a
4
deadly
fucking G. You
video
think it's gonna
game
work better with
gone
5
live.
fucking G? It's all
I
fucking bull
remember
fucking shit.
the Situation Room that Hillary Clinton and others sat in as they watched the horrific murders that were occurring at that time at the embassy. This is what is happening now. There's a movie called Paintball that I would recommend people take a look at. This is what is happening. We're being wired up, we're being predictively programmed, and we are being slaughtered. So the good news is, I suppose, is you now know you should be detaching yourself from wireless as best possible. Wrap your wireless up in Mylar until you cannot receive a signal. Stay away from your computer LED lights as long as possible. In fact, all your computer screens have LED lights. LED lights are absolutely causing blindness on the way from macular degeneration to other eye diseases, nearsightedness. We're losing our eyesight as a result of the silent weapon systems of our lighting as well. In fact, recently we went to an ophthalmologist and pulled some flyers from the office, and everyone needs to be doing this. You need to understand how technology is being used and the sinister side and how we need to protect our vision. And there's, of course, saying that the vision loss is representing itself as tired eyes, sensitivity to light, loss of sharp contrast of vision, difficulty seeing at night, discomforting glare, fatigue, difficulty staying focused, difficulty falling or staying asleep, headaches, increase in migraines, behavioral issues in children, risk of early onset cataracts, risk of macular degeneration, increased risk of diabetes, increased risk of obesity. This is just from the lighting alone. And the Department of Energy has approved this silent weapons system of lighting throughout our country under the guise of reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. This is a worldwide assault of lighting. It's not just in the United States with the change out now of all of our street lights to LED. We have a YouTube up. It's called LED Lights, a Silent Weapons Assault. We would certainly ask that all of you send this out far and wide, make comments under the video, adding more things that you learn about the assaults of the lighting alone. So by knowing these things, you can make different choices as best you can. We recently had a health forum with a group of people where we are talking about the different things we can do. There's many things that we can do. We have to first also become aware of the poisons in our cooking ware. Much of our cookware in the United States is prohibited from other countries. Did you know that? I didn't know that. But it's true. They use lead and cadmium in glassware that we use to heat things in, and they use coatings on pans that gets into our food. They use metals that get into our foods, and one of the things I didn't know was cast iron is one of the worst. So we're going to have solution information on StopTheCrime.net about the kind of cookware that you should get, what you should not be cooking your food in. Even if you're spending more money for what you think is organic, there is sadly, as many of you can appreciate, no such thing as organic, not with the poisons and the level of toxicities in our water. And I want to leave you with probably the best news of all, and that is that we have primary water. We are not running out of water. We have access to pure, fresh drinking water. We need to understand that water is a renewable. Please go to primarywater.org. Take a look at the wonders of water. Don't be deceived. We also, at the very top of StopTheCrime.net, have a discussion on the creation of fossil fuels. Our petroleum never did come from dead animals or plant material. And we have the genocide treaty, which I talk about, also at the very top under the banner of StopTheCrime.net on the home page, and then flanked by the truth about water. So there are very important things that we need to know. Our children are being hit with frequencies. Never before have we had increased levels of depression and suicide in our children. And it's because of the onslaught of the cell phone.
We were taught to be stupid fucking sheep, not fucking people that make the fucking world go round. These motherfuckers, they got us believing in Santa Claus, and Easter Bunny, and Tooth Fairy, and that's how they got us believing in God and Jesus bullshit.
Please subscribe.
You'll believe anything as a fucking kid. All you gotta do is keep going around in a circle with that bullshit.
Stay in contact with other like-minded people, because we are heading in to a reality that most people don't realize.
Every new generation of wireless networks delivers faster speeds and more functionality to our smartphone. 1G brought us the very first cell phone, 2G let us text for the first time, 3G brought us online, and 4G delivered the speeds that we enjoy today. But as more users come online, 4G networks have just about reached the limit of what they're capable of at a time when users want even more data for their smartphones and devices. Now we're headed toward 5G, the next generation of wireless. It will be able to handle 1,000 times more traffic than today's networks, and it'll be up to 10 times faster than 4G LTE. Just imagine downloading an HD movie in under a second, and then let your imagination run wild. 5G will be the foundation for virtual reality, autonomous driving, the Internet of Things, and stuff we can't even yet imagine. But what exactly is a 5G network? The truth is, experts can't tell us what 5G actually is, because they don't even know yet. But right now there are 5 brand new technologies emerging as the foundation of 5G. Millimeter wave, small cells, massive MIMO, beamforming, and full duplex. First up, technology number 1, millimeter wave. Your smartphone and other electronic devices in your home use very specific frequencies on the radio frequency spectrum, typically those under 6 gigahertz. But these frequencies are starting to get more crowded. Carriers can only squeeze so many bits of data on the same amount of radio frequency spectrum. As more devices come online, we're going to start to see slower service and more dropped connections. The solution is to open up some new real estate. So researchers are experimenting with broadcasting on shorter millimeter waves, those that fall between 30 and 300 gigahertz. This section of spectrum has never been used before for mobile devices, and opening it up means more bandwidth for everyone. But there is a catch. Millimeter waves can't travel well through buildings or other obstacles, and they tend to be absorbed by plants and rain. To get around this problem, we'll need technology number 2, small cell networks. Today's wireless networks rely on large, high-powered cell towers to broadcast their signals over long distances. But remember, higher frequency millimeter waves have a harder time traveling through obstacles, which means if you move behind one, you lose your signal. Small cell networks would solve that problem, using thousands of low-power mini base stations. These base stations would be much closer together than traditional towers, forming a sort of relay team to transmit signals around obstacles. This would be especially useful in cities. As the user moved behind an obstacle, his smartphone would automatically switch to a new base station in better range of his device, allowing him to keep his connection. Next up, technology number 3, massive MIMO. MIMO stands for multiple input, multiple output. Today's 4G base stations have about a dozen ports for antennas that handle all cellular traffic, but massive MIMO base stations can support about 100 ports. This could increase the capacity of today's networks by a factor of 22 or more. Of course, massive MIMO comes with its own complications. Today's cellular antennas broadcast information in every direction at once, and all of those crossing signals could cause serious interference. Which brings us to technology number 4, beamforming. Beamforming is like a traffic signaling system for cellular signals. Instead of broadcasting in every direction, it would allow a base station to send a focused stream of data to a specific user. This precision prevents interference, and it's way more efficient. That means stations could handle more incoming and outgoing data streams at once. Here's how it works. Say you're in a cluster of buildings and you're trying to make a phone call. Your signal is ricocheting off of surrounding buildings and crisscrossing with other signals from users in the area. A massive MIMO base station receives all of these signals and keeps track of the timing and the direction of their arrival. It then uses signal processing algorithms to triangulate exactly where each signal is coming from and plots the best transmission route back through the air to each phone. Sometimes it'll even bounce individual packets of data in different directions, off of buildings or other objects to keep signals from interfering with each other. The result is a coherent data stream sent only to you. Which brings us to technology number 5, full duplex. If you've ever used a walkie-talkie, you know that in order to communicate, you have to take turns talking and listening. That's kind of a drag. Today's cellular base stations have that exact same holdup. A basic antenna can only do one job at a time, either transmit or receive. This is because of a principle called reciprocity, which is the tendency for radio waves to travel both forward and backward along the same frequency. To understand this, it helps to think of a wave like a train loaded up with data. The frequency it's traveling on is like the train track. And if there's a second train trying to go in the opposite direction on the same track, you're going to get some interference. Up until now, the solution has been to have the trains take turns, or to put all the trains on different tracks, or frequencies. but you can make things a lot more efficient by working around reciprocity. Researchers have used silicon transistors to create high-speed switches that halt the backward roll of these waves. It's kind of like a signaling system that can momentarily reroute two trains so that they can get past each other. That means there's a lot more getting done on each track a whole lot faster. We're still working out many of the kinks with millimeter waves, small cell networks, massive MIMO, beamforming, and full duplex. In fact, all of 5G is still a work in progress. It will likely include other new technologies too, and making all of these systems work together will be a whole other challenge. But if experts can figure that out, ultra-fast 5G service could arrive in the next 5 years.
My name is Kevin Modis. I'm with the California Brain Tumor Association, but actually collaborate with 10 other groups. One of the groups is emfscientist.org. emfscientist.org has 220 doctors and scientists from 39 countries who have looked at health effects from wireless radiation. And from their work and the work of others, we can clearly say that wireless radiation can cause cancer, neurological problems, immune system disorders, and reproductive harm. Clearly, our scientists, along with the other groups I work with, which are composed of people who are developing wireless health effects from their various sources. For instance, people developing brain tumors from their cell phone and the radiation emits. People developing neurological symptoms from the Wi-Fi, from school Wi-Fi. People developing neurological and cancerous health effects from simple smart meters. Smart meters being little wireless meters that are put on people's homes so that people don't have to come by and read the meter themselves manually. So regardless of the source, and cell towers are the most powerful source of wireless radiation emissions, regardless of the source, the health effects can be the same. So what brings me here today is the rollout of 5G technology. And people need to understand that 5G technology is very different from 2G, 3G, and 4G that preceded it. And that is because the wireless radiation is using a higher frequency. Our current wireless technology uses about 1 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz. This new 5G technology is ultra-high frequency, ultra-high intensity, and it's 24 gigahertz to 90 gigahertz. To put this in some type of perspective, 90 gigahertz is 90 billion electromagnetic waves per second hitting your body. We know people are already getting sick from the lower frequencies, and we expect, that is our scientists expect, that these higher, ultra-high frequency microwaves are going to bring people to disease quicker and in a more intense form. The other problem with 5G technology is these microwaves are very short. So our old microwaves were about 2.5 to 3 feet long. These are now about 1 inch to half an inch long. And they don't travel very well. So they're going to have to put a little cell tower transmitter in front of about every 2 to 10 homes. Now this is a big problem because we know that cancer rates around regular cell towers are about 3 or 4 times what they normally should be. We also know that there's neurological symptoms that increase as you get closer and closer to a cell tower. Now these new transmitters are going to be placed close to people's homes. It's going to be continuous exposure as with other cell towers, but it'll be emitting a much more higher frequency, high intensity wireless radiation.
Ladies and gentlemen, not only are these 5G death towers going to double cancer rates in our country, they are going to be used to target individuals in a way never seen before. Since most people keep their smartphones on them like a tracking device, and since their political profiles are linked to their phones, it only makes sense that this is going to be an easy way to target people silently and without a trace. As you can see with these new 5G death towers, they are going to be focusing beams of high-frequency energy at a user's location. These 5G death towers are in fact particle beam weapons that can be aimed at people. These particle beams move at the speed of light and track you wherever you go. And in most cases, you'll be hit with particle beams coming from multiple directions. This truly is a national emergency, considering who controls this technology. You saw how the IRS was targeting conservatives. You saw how the FBI covered up the Las Vegas and Hillary investigations. Well, what do you think this beast system is going to do with Christians and conservatives on their networks? Zap, zap, and double zap. That's what, admit it, that's what you would do if you were Dr. Evil. You'd poison the food, the air, the water, and you'd use these death towers to slowly induce cancer. Have no doubt about it, these 5G death towers are bad news any way you look at it. So go to your city council meetings. Protest these bad boys from coming up in your neighborhood before it's too late. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Hi guys, Demon Hunter here. Just want to give you a heads up on these 5G towers. These towers actually have 300-foot spoke copper wheels that span out underground, and they're aimed at altering God's natural earth frequency. And they're working in conjunction with the space that's above at top of the Sky Dome. As discussed previously, there's an Atlantean-based city atop the Sky Dome. It's built within the firmament, and it's all connected to the ISS, International Space Station. And it's the city up there is run by Tesla Free Energy, while below we're charged for electricity. During the antediluvian age, Atlantis ran off a higher frequency level, which is why 5G, the fifth age, age of Aquarius, the golden age of Saturn, saying is being implemented. They're looking to terraform the planet, hence planet plane, to accommodate Atlantis and its occupants, Apollyon Destroyer, with its accompanying squadron of demonic filth, all the demons manifesting in the clouds, thanks to CERN opening up the pit. They're looking to reverse the polarity, that's the end game, which will make humanity and animals very sick, to which humanity will be seeking alternative medicinal measures to cure the sickness caused by this 5G radiation. The New World Beast System will introduce a cure. That's their goal, and it's going to be based off transhumanism, where one can become as gods. This is where they'll claim sickness as a thing of the past. So once you accept the mark of the beast, showing your allegiance to Satan, your DNA will change from a double-strand DNA to that of a triple helix, turning you into a machine, and your consciousness uploaded to Satan's one-hive mind, which is Skynet, which is based up in the city within the top of the Sky Dome. And thus Satan being called the Prince of the Air. And God dwells in the hearts of man, not within the machine. And so if you take the mark of the beast, you'll actually completely sever any relationship you might have with God. This terminating any chances of salvation. So whatever you do, don't take that mark. And for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for Jesus' sake shall find it. So please take up your cross and enjoy the rest of the film. Thank you.
You don't know the truth, but you just don't know what you talk to. People, we are some real stupid ass sheep. On real. We are real stupid ass sheep. We see through all the bullshit. We see through the bullshit. We see that why would someone create a Santa Claus, an Easter Bunny, and a Tooth Fairy, and the shit is bullshit? Why? What's the reason? Gotta have, everything has a reason. So propaganda was the reason for that death, so what do you think they're going to take the truth for something else for? They've been lying since day motherfucking one. Crazy. Crazy. about this shit, man. It's messed up, man. You got a certain amount of people that want us dead. Want us dead. Because we waking up to this bullshit. How you think they're allowing them to do this shit with the medication? Pharmaceutical companies, man. When are we gonna wake up from the bullshit, people? Stop being bullshit, people. And let go of the bullshit.
Text to speech. Text